Welcome, everybody, to our damn live stream. Damn the status quo. The David Advisor movement, aka DAM, is at the core of everything that we're doing at Forefront Advisor Network. You see, we feel that the industry has turned into David versus Goliath, and we're here to empower the indomitable human spirit in all of us and bring champions to share meaningful insights to help you become your dream self, to help you unlock your full potential. Today, we're going to be talking about embracing collaboration to unlock your full potential with the legendary Colleen Bowler. I'm just going to share some of Colleen's stats and information about her. She spent over 25 years building and growing her financial planning firm, Strategic Wealth Partners. Love the name. She went from zero to over $500 million in assets under management. Along the way, she received numerous industry awards, presented at many industry meetings, but her greatest success, she feels, and the impact that she had was the impact that she created in the lives of all the individuals and clients that were under her care. Colleen is a planner, obviously, but she implemented a 3-year succession planning, selling her firm for over $500 million. And Colleen in 2020 founded C&J Innovations with Dr. Gene Howard, who brings expertise in assessments and surveys. Colleen and Gene combined their expertise to create a unique and powerful female-led firm. I want to make sure we highlight that because it's a beautiful thing. With patents pending and major relationships pending across major broker-dealers, with the goal of empowering financial advisors to create greater impact in their client relationships. In addition, Colleen has served as a coach for Strategic Coach since 2003. She raised a son as a single mom and co-authored a book, Generous Kids. And now all she does is empower people every day of her life. So welcome, Colleen.
Hi, Eric. Okay, there's just one change.
Go for it.
I did not sell the firm for $500 million. I wish I had. Sounds good. Sounds really good.
Just putting it out there.
Yeah, we had put it out there. We had $500 million of assets under management and life insurance, disability, long-term care. I sold it for 7+ figures. So that's the only change. That sounds pretty good. Who is that person?
I like plus. Let's just put it there.
Plus. Yeah.
So I want to kind of get right into it because folks are sitting here and going to be listening to us live or listening to the replay.
Okay.
Let's talk about your journey, about how the heck you got into this thing called financial advising in the first place and where you were in your life and a little bit of the journey in the beginning.
Oh, well, it's a journey that I would hope no one had to go through themselves. I was in the middle of a divorce. I had a sick 3-year-old. The job that I thought I had, the owner, this is just so bizarre. The owner thought I would move to Chicago because that's where my family was, but I couldn't. And he took the job away because he said, because I didn't have any family, that as a single mom, I wouldn't be able to succeed, which, as somebody who knows both Eric and I would know that would just really piss you off.
That's true.
But I found myself with my son has unfortunately not seen his dad since he was 3. He was sick and I needed a job, and somebody said, "You are really good at math. Why don't you do this thing called financial?" No, I think they just called it insurance right at that point in time. But no, they did call it financial planning, because I went and worked with Mutual of New York. I made $14,000 the first year. I qualified for earned income credit. Uh, I made 18,000 the second year, once again qualified for earned income credit. And the third year I broke through, I doubled my income and made $39,000 the third year. So, like I said, I would not wish that kind of start on anyone. But it taught me a lot about tenacity. It taught me a lot. Eric and I, we've talked about women in this business, and I believe it is a fabulous business for women. And we need to embrace and champion that more, I believe. When I started in 91, there were 15% of advisors that were women. I think there are 18% now. So we've not come very far. And I believe with the flexibility, I was able to take my son to school and read in the library and pick him up and then put him to bed and then go to work. And, I had a lot more flexibility that way. So I think it's a great industry for business and not an easy business to start on your own. Yeah, I think it is really wise. I tell people now, learn on other people's money. If you can get in and get a job working for an advisor, be a paraplanner, work in an organization, however you can learn, I think that is a fabulous way now. I think there's a lot more of those opportunities. We talked about the title being collaboration over competition. When I started and even when I left, competition is such a big thing in the industry. But there are a lot of people like Eric and Forefront who are at the front of collaboration. And I think that's key.
Why do you think, and I'm just curious, why do you think that more women haven't come into the industry, and kind of what are some of the barriers now for them, just from how the business is structured and just from your viewpoint?
I think women, what the studies show that women want to know what they're doing. I mean, studies will show that men will just go and do it. Like they'll ask for a raise before they feel ready for it. Women will hold back and wait until they're more than ready for it. And I'm not dishing on men. I'm just saying that
these are the facts.
These are the facts. And I think we as an industry need to embrace it and help educate and train and build confidence in women to be out there and do it. I mean, I had a guy tell me that I should go home and be a mom, that I shouldn't be working. Now, that was 25 years ago, but the starting on your own, that's a hard thing for a woman. I think it's a hard thing for a guy too. I just think there are so many opportunities out there to collaborate within firms that we don't have to do it on our own anymore.
Yeah. So you started out in the industry. You came into an insurance company. What was that training like, or how did you get clients? I mean, I think that tends to be a lot of challenges that newer advisors, either they're overwhelmed by the enormity of things that they don't know, and they don't know how to consistently get in front of people. We used to call it cheeks in the seat. Well, now in the technology age, how do I get somebody to come to my Zoom meeting?
Yeah, we called it belly to belly, but same thing. When I started, there was this thing called the one card system, and that was writing down everybody that you knew and everybody that they knew, and then getting in front of them. I do believe that activity is key. I also believe that when I was in year 2 in the business, I was going to see somebody that was investing their $2,000 IRA, and I knew the owner of the business, that the business was worth about $10 million. And I decided I would try to get his business by myself. I mean, like, really?
I love that. It's bold. It's tenacious.
Bold, tenacious, and stupid.
Yeah, it is.
But that man taught me something. I was going up in the elevator with him, and he was carrying in Diet Coke. And I knew how much the business was worth. And I knew there was a machine in the lunchroom that had sodas and everything. And I looked at him and I said, "What? Why are you bringing in your own Diet Coke?" And he very flatly said to me, "Colleen, you can have what you want. You just can't have everything you want." And I have to say, it pissed me off in the beginning. And about 6 months later, I saw him again and thanked him for that. And he said, "The reality is, you need to make your vision and your choice of what you really want. If you want your son to go to school," he knew I was a single mom, "then you don't buy $400 pairs of shoes. You get to make choices. You can have what you want. You've just got to figure out what it is you want. And I'm not going to spend 50 cents on a Coke when I can spend 10. I mean, that's a big difference, right? So it's things like that that you learn along the way that make a huge difference in how you go about business. So I was just trying to get anybody and everybody. Today, what I would say is, if I met that person and I was 2 years in the industry, I would say, "I would love our team to come and meet with you." And I would bring in advisors that knew a lot more than me, and I would learn. I would split cases or do joint work or however that is. Um, I think the industry now is so good, and there's such an opportunity there for that.
So you're in the business. You have this experience with this gentleman that gives you, I call it a word nugget. It's something that you like marinate on, and then it finally you're like it clicks for you. You're like you don't appreciate what somebody says until later. So you got that. So you're at this juncture. You're working at the insurance company. You're growing. At what point did you embrace collaboration, and then what were the results that you started seeing for yourself?
Probably the end of the second year. The end of this second year in the business, I went to Lincoln Financial because I believed, where I was at money, I wanted to do real financial planning. And where I was, the answer to everything that anybody needed was life insurance. And I knew that that didn't make a lot of sense, even though I was young in the business. And so, I had been doing some disability insurance and I had been doing some life insurance, and I had become real knowledgeable in disability. And I went over to Lincoln, which is weird. After 2 years of business, I was their disability specialist, a part-time gig, but it gave me some baseline income.
Mm.
And then it was there that I started doing joint work with advisors to learn, to grow, to be able to reach um, bigger and bigger clients. So I would say year 3 under that umbrella, it was just a very big possibility for me. And the other thing is, when we're around others who are doing really well, I always say, if I can make it, anybody can make it, right? It is that you can see somebody else do it. And when you can see, it's like the 4-minute mile. Once it was broken, all of a sudden it was broken many times.
Yep.
So once we can see that possibility, it makes it real.
I love that. Thank you. The most powerful thing you said about was collaborating and being able to sit in and learn, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's one of the most underutilized tools, because what happens is when you sit in on those meetings with another advisor who's successful as you view it, right? They have the confidence, they have the knowledge, they have the communication and the presentation skills. You get to observe. You're sitting in the room watching, and it totally demystifies things, because in our minds, when you start out, you don't know, you don't you don't feel confident inside, so you don't communicate confidently, and so that comes through to the client, and the client can sense it, and so they say no. Well, then you sit in the room with the pro and you collaborate through this joint work, etc., and you watch them, and you say, you know what, I could do that. And then you say to yourself, well, I might do it a little bit differently, and you infuse your own style. So I think
Right.
that's a very astute point. So you started collaborating, you started watching, and then what happened to your confidence and your competence as you started doing this collaboration?
Obviously, it would increase, right? Year 5, I started doing my CFP, and as a single parent, I talk about all the time I spent at, Chuck E. Cheese and McDonald's while my kid played in the ball so I could study. I do think, Adam Holt, and I have this, if y'all haven't listened to any of, Forefront's podcasts, live streams, go to their YouTube channel and listen. I listened to Adam Holtz. Actually, I was making dinner and I listened to his, and he said, little moments add up to an outcome. It happens all of a sudden over a long period of time, right? We do these things over and over. It becomes habit. And those habits, like education, where all of a sudden you're learning and all of a sudden you know the answer. And I know this may not be the most comfortable thing for people to say, but one of the things I have learned has incredible power is the statement, I have no idea, but I sure can find the people who know the answer to that question. Um, because you have to put your ego aside that you should know everything. This industry is so complicated, and especially as you get further and further along in your career, being able to say, I don't know, not bluff your way through it like I was taught to do, but to be able to say, I have no idea, but it's a great question, we're going to get an answer for you, I think is really powerful.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You know, I'm now approaching my second decade in the game, and you know, when you just start, you everything is tied into knowing, right? Especially if you're somebody who values like being, you want to be an expert. You're supposed to be the expert, right? When you sit in
Right.
front of these folks, and not positioning yourself as bigger than yourself, even if you work for an organization. I want all the advisors who are listening right now, pay attention to what we are about to say. This is a note-taking moment for you. If you're listening, stop the guard, the light, whatever it is that you're doing. You have a team. You just may not know it already. If you work at a large financial company, there are teams of people that can help you, whether it's investment company that you work with, whether it's insurance company that you work with, whether there's financial planning people internally that you work with. You have a team. And what Colleen has just shared with you is you do not have to know everything. The more I know, the more I realize I don't know.
Yep.
2 decades later, I still learn something every single day
Yeah.
about people, planning, investments, tax. Some nuance comes. I'm sure you can relate to it, Colleen.
Yeah, and Eric, I think, that visualization, when you talk about team, that's where that word collaboration comes with me. Collaboration and partnership, those teams include CPAs. I have great friends that are CPAs that I've gotten to know over the years in the industry that I can call with a question that a client has that they may or may not end up doing business, but we're there to give to each other. So I consider them my team. I consider estate attorneys and other corporate attorneys team members. I consider an HR person at a business where we put in a 403b or 401k. I mean, I hope after this conversation, everybody has a huge insight about what team and what collaboration really looks like. And the biggest person that I believe we all need to be in collaboration, or we call it partnership with, is with our clients. And while I may not be the smartest person in the room on estate planning or insurance or all of those different things, what I'm really good at is partnering with my client to find out where it is they want to go in their future and who can I bring in to help them get there. That's what I believe our key is finding out what is most important to them in their future and how can I help them? How can I help them?
I love that. I think partnership, right? Our clients are indeed our partners in everything that we do. And I think one things advisors don't do enough is engage with their clients in a sense of mutual helping with one another. That's what partnership means. Partnership means I have your back, you have my back. We're in this thing together. So I think what you said succinctly was you were an advocate for your clients and helping them get what they wanted to get out of their life, whether it was you directly helping them get it or the team that you had built around you that had all the resources to be able to make their life better and to help them get what they wanted out of their lives. I
Yeah.
love that.
And if any of us have been in this business for a long time, we've known that go for full circle, that disability policy that actually gets used, the life insurance that gets used, those foundational things that, investments are great, but they don't pay the bills if somebody dies next year and they just started their career, right? I had this is a good one for anybody that is new or middle in the business. I had a really good coach, and I think all of us to have coaches and be a coach, no matter where we are in the business, we can have coaches and we can be a coach. And her name was Mary Seaback. And it did happen to be in the second year at Money. So it was an insurance firm where everybody was trying to sell permanent insurance. And she pulled me aside and she said, Colleen, the most important thing in this industry is to take care of the need first. Take care of the need first. Make sure the need is taken care of. What is it that if something happens? And then she said the little second thing, and she says, and term insurance converts. So the need, when somebody is young in their careers, they need a lot of life insurance because if something happens to them, their spouse, their family, their kids, there's a big need there. So 3 million, 5 million of insurance, depending upon what their income is. Taking care of the need first is really important. And then all of us who've been around it long enough know term insurance converts. So when they become more affluent, then you can do that. But it was through that I'll tell a story, interesting and sad. So as a single parent, having people around, family and friends, is key to having a career like I did. And I had a couple, Doug and Liffy, who took care of my son Addison once a week so I could go to work or I could have a night off, one of the two. And Mary Seabeck in my brain, pay attention that everyone around you that you love and care about has life insurance, and investments are cool, but having those basic needs met. And I'll just get to the point. I made sure that happened. And in his early 40s, Doug passed away. And no. I'm godson to one of their children. How would have I felt if I hadn't made sure that they were taken care of? And in the past, that big life insurance, that permanent insurance would have been the answer. But with Mary Seaback coaching me to take care of the need first, that family was taken care of. So it is so important for all of us for all the people around us that we love and care about, take care of the need first.
I love that. I love that. So you're now at Lincoln. You're starting to collaborate.
Mhm.
At what point did like how did those first collaborations look like, and then how did you essentially come to create the larger team of strategic wealth partners?
I think collaboration, partnership became really key for me when I joined Strategic Coach.
Okay.
And that is all about how do we create value in others' futures. As you know, it is 3 years after I started, I became one of their coaches, and I still am 20 years later. So when you find something that works for you, go do it, and go do it for a long time. Um, but their conversation is always about how are you creating value in someone else's future? And so in the back of my mind, that was always there whenever I was meeting with anyone. And I didn't want to become an expert in investments. I didn't want to become an expert in estate planning. I mean, I'm really good at those things, but I didn't love them. What I loved was helping people figure out what was it that they wanted in their future. I have a good friend, Tim Johnson, chief investment strategist at Lincoln, who said, our job is to get them all the way home. And I always added in, and my job is to figure out what that home wants, what they want that to look like.
I like that. You take them all the way home.
Right.
So
So
you
I would find other advisors. I have a good friend still, Diana Parker, who was a genius in estate planning, a genius in estate planning and insurance. And she loved that piece. She didn't love them figuring out what their home is. She loved that piece. And then my friend Tim Johnson, he loved the investment piece. And then other advisors, we would do joint work. I would bring them in because they love those pieces. And I could kind of act as quarterback.
I love that. And then so you started collaborating, you built this team. How did that help you take your practice to the next level? Like what was the experience? How did that help you move up market to bigger clients? This collaboration.
When you don't have to know it all, you can use the resources and the education and the learning of others to build it faster. And so by doing joint work, we were able to really expand the business because myself and my team didn't have to do it all. We had other advisors, and I gladly gave up. I know there's an MDRT split and there's all kinds of different ideas on how to split, but I basically split 50%, and they did the part of the insurance, they did the part of the investments, we did the part of taking care of the client. For large scale clients, I'm not talking minor clients, but large scale.
When you say large scale, what are we talking about for those folks on the call? Are we talking five to $20 million clients? Anything above $1 million? What?
5 to 40 million.
Okay.
Not that we didn't deal with lower income or lower net worth clients, but the team could handle that easily. And we had other advisors on the team. And we did 403B business in our firm, which some people were putting in $50 a month. So, yep. And I believe we spent 10% of our time as a firm that we basically educated people that weren't our right fit client. I believe that's a really important thing to do to give back to the community that we serve. So
that was your pro bono, we call it. You have some clients that you've grown and they're no longer fit where you've gone, but you continue to take care of them because they're in good hands.
Correct. The other thing is when we brought advisors in, we gave C clients to them
Yeah.
to work. So you asked originally, how did I do it? I did it by schlepping, right? Asking and asking and asking. I think it benefits our clients and people that we want to have in the industry to not make it as hard as it was in the beginning for me, I think. So by giving them C clients, it opens up more capacity for our team.
Yep.
And it also allows them practice. My belief is when we get a client that we take care of them, but it doesn't have to be us, right? We make sure they're taken care of, but it doesn't have to be us.
I think that's beautiful. So so you started talking about collaborating, you talked about bringing in advisors and essentially handing off, lower tiered clients. Nobody wants, I always, somebody joked with me, nobody wants to be a C student, but I mean, that's the terminology. I'm just joking with you
Yeah,
because we all
yeah,
do ABC, your ABC clients. I get it.
yeah.
How did you position the conversation with the clients to easily make the transition from, let's call it, one advisor to another? So if somebody's listening and they're thinking to themselves, I'm not new, but I'm middle tier and I'm growing, and I know I'm going to bring other team members to collaborate with me. How do they position that conversation with their client that it's, we are going to serve you, and we doesn't always mean me?
Yeah. Okay, so a couple of things. One is, in the beginning, having someone else in the room with you, especially if it's a junior advisor that they eventually are going to work with those clients. The other thing I love saying is, we're expanding our firm. I'm going to be gone more, and I want to make sure you are well taken care of. So and so is going to do, be your lead advisor. I think a couple things, if I can go back, Eric, that one of the things I have here is process, do the follow-up. In order to do this collaboration and have multiple people working with a client, and to easily have another advisor take over, is a couple of things. One is meeting notes. There always has to be meeting notes done and put in the CRM.
Amen.
I can't tell you how many advisors I've met with that they or their team don't do meeting notes. As soon as I could get somebody in the room with me to take those notes, and we used interns, college students, we used those are the most. We use junior advisors, we use paraplanners to be in there. Sooner you can get somebody in the room with you, it allows you to pay more attention, and B, we always schedule 10 minutes after every client meeting to do the meeting notes and to send out what we call the conference confirmation.
Yep.
The conference confirmation for us was, great to see you, whatever the little first paragraph is.
Yeah.
And then we would do the action items. Here's what you said you were going to do. Here's what we said we're going to do. And as you build in other advisors on that team, it becomes really important to track those action items. But action items include, when a client says, and it's part of how we came to create the passport package. When a client says, I'd really like to, take off 25 pounds, and, we talk about, okay, so what does that look like? I'd like to lose, 5 pounds by the end of, the month or something like that, or the end of March or whatever. if I have a Fitbit, if I have, I'll send a book, on health and wellness or whatever the ones that I'm liking at the time. And we'll send a note halfway through. How you doing? Is there anything? So it's not just the financial things we're keeping track of that we put into the CRM, but also the things that were important to them.
Yep. I love that. So you set this up strategically. I really love some of your phrasing there around the firm is expanding and I want to make sure that you're taken care of. So at what point did you started out as a single mom? You talked about these first couple of years, how they were a struggle, and then eventually
7.
yeah, that sounds about right. It's like I tell people you don't really know anything for the first 5 years. About 5 years, you know a little bit. About 10 years, you know a little bit more, and 20 years in, you realize you don't know anything. So, so as you were growing, at what point did you get and you said to yourself, "My goodness, I've made it, and I'm okay, and I think I'm going to be successful." Because I think there's this conversation. We all have this different inflection point. You're sitting alone and something clicks inside of you and you're like, I'm going to be okay. And then there's another one that comes that it says, I'm doing good. And there's another one that's like, I can't believe this is happening. So at what point did you have these inflection points in your journey?
You and we talked about this a little bit before, and I was like, I don't know if I have yet. I'm going to be successful. I do have to say that, and I do think that's something that is different than women. I had $500 million of assets under management at our firm, and we did life insurance. We did full planning. We charged fees. We had life and disability and long-term care and all that stuff.
Yep.
And since I've left, I've met all these people that had less and, whatever, but I've always thought of them as so successful, but that wasn't necessarily in my brain. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Like you were just running your business. It never sunk in that like, oh, wow, we managed $500 million. But you then met another advisor who's like, oh, I've got $100 million and I'm having a good life. And you're like, oh, they're successful, but you didn't view yourself that way, is what you said.
Yeah. I viewed myself as adding a lot of value. I mean, I think the relationship part of the financial advising industry is phenomenal. And I know that. When my son went to college is probably when I could take a deep breath. When you drop them off and they're like, okay, how soon can you be gone, Mom? I think you need to leave.
I thought you were going to say when your son graduated college, you got a raise,
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. I will say in 2013, 2014, part of what I did well, when I started coaching for Strategic Coach, I would be in workshops all day with entrepreneurs. And in order to make that work, I had to have a team that could do trades, that could handle inquiry, that could do all those things. And because of that, I think I let go more than most advisors do, because, by the last 5 years of my practice, I was gone 50% of the time. Because I had such a great team, such great partners and collaborators. I think you got to pay attention to that. Do you want to go on vacation?
Yeah.
And not work. Right? The last 7 years, when I met with somebody, I'll have to take a drink to tell you this.
Yeah, please.
This is water.
Yep. It's the other kind. It all looks like water.
It all looks like water, tea, whatever. Um, I I would say, here's one thing you've got to know is you are never going to be able to get a hold of me. And they like, right? And I said, when I'm in a meeting with you, I want to be in a meeting with you. When I am in another meeting with another client, I want to be with them. I want to be present. And that can't happen if everyone can get a hold of me all the time.
I love that.
And they just kind of smile. And I said, what we do best here is we build a moat around our clients. I have so many people on the team that are smarter than me. You are always going to be able to get a hold of someone. It's just not going to be me. We are going to make sure everything is taken care of. If it needs me, I'm going to be there. But 99% of the time, it doesn't need me. Right. Yep. And it is amazing, they didn't need me. And I think it was part of why my succession plan was so good, that when I left, I thought some people, maybe 10 of the clients, big clients that we had a lot of moving pieces, would be calling me.
I mean, it's interesting.
It's bad for my ego. It's very
bad. It's interesting because I actually think that you were ahead of your time in how you operated your firm. This whole concept of competition versus collaboration is, our industry has bred competition, but I sit here looking at you and hearing your story about what you've created, and you built an actual firm. A lot of advisors, they have a practice, and a practice means that you play in the game. Mm-hmm. Having a firm and owning a business means that you get stuff done through other people. And it's interesting because you went through the journey, as like you said, like you and I both started. We started alone, right? We were in a cold room with the one card system, and anybody who had bones in an X-ray, you talk to them about insurance or investing or something. Okay, you got money? You got money in your pocket? I can sell your policy. Okay, so you started there. You then evolved into collaborating and building a practice, and then you evolved to the next step of actually building a business that runs without you. So I think it's phenomenal. If you're sitting here today, what would you tell other advisors that are listening to you? What would you go back and do differently? And how would you do it all over again if you were to start today?
I would do joint work from the start. I would find an advisor who I thought was doing really well, and I'd ask them if I could carry their bags. I would do anything I could to support them and help them and learn from them and all of those things. Also, I think advisors, part of my understanding of this thing that we need rest and we need to get away came from my son, who saw all of my brothers and sisters and I. Our father died when I was 16. We're all type A. We all were working on vacation. Yeah. And he wrote this story that I was called into the teacher's office about, that said, the people who I admire the most are the people who I call vacation workers. These are the ones who, no matter, I've got this memorized, who no matter how desperately need a break, still find time to work. I'll use my own family as an example. He was 11. He was 11. if people on this podcast or on this live stream don't understand that our kids are watching us, they are. So one thing that I would do is I would hook up with another advisor who can be authorized to do trades on your accounts. That's what I did. I was under a big umbrella as I built my firm. And so when they were on vacation, I did it. For any of us that are around physicians or have physician clients or lawyers, they all do this, right? They don't deliver babies every day. They go take vacation and somebody is there in their stead. So it's something that advisors need to do as well.
I love that. So vacation workers are the people that we admire the most. So one of the things that you shared, I wanted to have you share it. When you did this collaboration with other advisors, and for those of you that are listening on the call that you grew up in the independent world, and maybe you came up in the RIA or investment side of the house, they're not so used to joint work the way you and I call it. All it means, guys, is you're just revenue sharing with another advisor. Colleen, who controlled the relationship?
Whoever brought the relationship in. Like, I controlled my relationships. It was my team who did the meeting notes. It was my team that did all the action items. It was my team that put them in the CRM system and checked up on them to make sure things were going smoothly. I'm not saying it's always easy when there's another advisor involved, because sometimes their time frames are different than ours, right? I learned long ago that getting things done the day before doesn't provide a lot of confidence. So I always wanted things done the week before. In the beginning, I wanted it done the day before. I flew by the seat of my pants.
I like that seat. I fly there very frequently. It's first class.
I learned that I need that. And as I brought other people in, especially as you're learning the relationships with joint work, if it's a CPA or an estate attorney, I still manage that process, knowing I wasn't necessarily in the meetings with the CPA for the taxes or whatever, but I knew when the meeting was, or our team knew when the meeting was, and we'd follow up to check to make sure, especially if we had referred someone in, to make sure it went well, etc.
So you started collaborating with other professionals. Did the collaboration come full circle? Did other people start bringing you in to collaborate with them, or was it mostly you just did the driving of the collaboration for what you needed?
Every once in a while, somebody would bring me in, but mostly I brought them in because I had plenty. I had plenty of people coming to me.
Yeah.
So by the last 10 years of my career.
And how were you marketing? And so, like, how did your practice grow? How were you marketing? How were you getting how were you getting introductions? Where was the business coming from, in your business, like the growth that happened?
All through referrals.
Okay.
It is the one piece of my practice that I was not good at, was marketing, and we didn't have social media to the extent that we do now. The Ryan Rayburn, CFP, who's bought my practice, has done a great job with that and has done a great job expanding the firm even higher because of doing other things in marketing. That just wasn't my thing. I did a lot of referrals, and I got to the point where 50% off, I was making a whole bunch of money. I was in the seven figures, and I was I hate to say that, but we did good work. I wish I knew more about social media, and we didn't have that in the beginning of my career. The marketing that I did was through workshops.
Okay.
And so that worked out well.
So when you say workshops, was it you did for those people? Workshops is another word for seminars. It could be. So
Yeah.
you did workshops, and you did workshops. Like, how did you do them? Were they client bring a friend workshops? Like, how did you do these workshops? Where did you put them on? Tell me a little bit about that, because I know every single person who's listening to this is always looking for a nugget on that. Hey, I might try a different marketing tactic because they want to get different results.
Yeah. So I had a book of business at with a 403B. And so we did workshops there for employees. And I always tried to do it on something other than investments, even though that was the main book of business there, because the Fidelities of the world, the Vanguards of the world, they all wanted to do investments, and I wanted us to be different. So we did it on estate planning. We did it on health and wellness. It's part of how we've created the passport package, the workshops that go with that it's on mindsets.
Yep.
Because it's something to show that you care about their future, not just their finances. And so we would do that in 403B. We would do that for our clients, and they would bring people. We would have a chef come, or we would have a wellness or a yoga or something like that. I was the one advisor. The only thing that my team knew was no newsletter was ever going to go out about investments or about finances, because I had a client who was a neurosurgeon that I went to see. And at the same time, my husband was seeing him. It turned out to be just like a fatty tissue on the back of his head, but he had so he had to go see him as well. And I was seeing him about his finances. And I came in and I had multiple choices for him on investments. And he got so mad at me. And he said, if you and Peter, my husband, if you came in here and I said, here's 4 choices, you pick which one, what would you say to me? And I'd say, which one do you think? I mean, you've been in the business for 25 years. He goes, yeah. So why are you giving me all these choices? You're supposed to be the one who knows what they're doing. Either put it down to 2 or don't come back again. And he said, and by the way, stop sending me all those, market updates. You told me from the beginning that the markets go up and the markets go down. Do I need to know more than that? I thought you were the expert. I don't send you newsletters on neurosurgery, so don't send me newsletters on investments. And so I stopped. It was a really good lesson, hard lesson.
I think right there, Colleen, you just debunked a lot of industry marketing, especially from home offices, and maybe even some marketing companies that focus on advisors. I couldn't agree with you more. We don't send out a single newsletter that talks about the market. Right? That's our job, right? Our job is to worry about that and worry about what's going on, and to tell you the things that you need to know when and if you need to take action.
Yeah.
Why would I add more stress into your life? Isn't my job to make that better for you? So if things are going haywire, why would you tell me something that's bad going on? What does it really matter in the scheme of a 10 or 20 year, 30-year plan? It means nothing. It's a blip on the radar.
Right. We've planned for this, is what we always say, right? We've planned for this. Yeah, it was a hard lesson, but it was a good lesson, right? It was one that I listened to and that we didn't do again. But we would have experts come on in health, in wellness, in kids' college and things like that. For sure. It's not that they didn't hear from us. It's that they didn't hear, these are the latest trends in the market. I wrote something down, Eric, and when I was when I was thinking about this, I actually went to Social Security. If anybody wants to feel better about themselves, go to Social Security and see what your income was. That's how I knew what mine was. And in 2008, when the market tanked, right? My income went up because one of the things we've always said to advisors, to our teams, to our collaborators, to our partners is don't hide under your desk. You're supposed to be there for the good times and the bad times. And when shit hits the fan, we need to be there. And it is then that confidence comes through. I always told our clients the markets go up and the markets go down. You're never going to hear us. You're not going to have us call you when the markets are down and you should be investing, or the markets are up and you should, whatever, however it is, that is the only thing they've ever done. And so, in 2008, we had a lot of referrals come in because people were afraid and they couldn't get a hold of their financial advisors. It also happened, I looked and saw in 2011, my income went down, but in 2012, it went up 51%.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
So what happened between 11 and 12? I mean, I'm inquiring minds want to know.
Well, September 11th happened, right?
Oh, yeah, got it.
I mean, 2001, it went up. Okay.
Yeah.
And then in 2011, there was a lot of upheaval and people were afraid. So we just went out there and talked to them. We talked to anybody. And that's how we got a lot of business, is being there to talk to people when other people were afraid to pick up the phone.
So you built this practice of collaborators. What did your communication, like cadence or frequency, look like if somebody was a client of your firm? Like, how did that look like? How frequently were they being communicated to and checked in on?
We would send out a quarterly communication on something, that was important to their life. And remember, from every meeting, we would tag things that they said they wanted to have happen.
Yep.
Maybe it was a kid going to college, or maybe it was they wanted to put money in a 529, or maybe it was they were going on an anniversary trip or things like that. So, had a good coach. Her name was Lauren Farasati. And she said, if it's not in CRM, it didn't happen. And we just built that into our team. If it wasn't in CRM, it didn't happen. And it was our way that we could keep track of all those things, because our brains can't hold all that information.
So since I know a lot of the advisors listening to this, they're going to be tech geeks. What CRM were you using in your practice?
I was using Redtail. Okay. Well, I wasn't. You could ask me, you could give me $1 million right now to how to use it. Oh, okay. So this is the other trick for advisors. We love to know it all. And so the way that I stopped myself from doing things is not learning them. So I don't know how to use Excel. This is bad. I don't know how to use PowerPoint. I don't know how to use Canva. I don't know how to use Redtail. I mean, I don't know how. We had sophisticated planning software. I don't know how to, if you gave me $1 million to put it in and then we transferred to eMoney, I wouldn't know how to do it. I know how to read it. I know how to, I would find mistakes and they're like, how would you know that? I'm like, because I've been doing it for 20 years.
Exactly. I can just look at this report. Something's wrong. You typed in something wrong somewhere.
Right. But we have to find ways like not giving clients our cell phone numbers. We have to find ways to stop ourselves from the old saying, work expands to fill the time allotted. Work expands to fill the time allotted. So you as a financial advisor, have to decide how much time are you going to give it?
I love that. I'll also add the corollary: work will shrink to to the amount of time that you have. And for those people that don't realize that, I want you to think about when you got to go on vacation and you got a lot of work to get done. Somehow it magically gets done or delegated before you go on vacation. So it either expands or it fits in wherever you put it.
Yeah.
So I think that's amazing. So as you sit here and you think about how collaboration has impacted your life, what what were some of the greatest benefits for you that collaboration caused for you?
I think the biggest benefit was to our clients. Number one, because we could create so much more value. If I lead with them, if I always lead with how do I create value for my client, it will enhance and enrich and expand my life. I don't know necessarily how, but it will. So, always leading with how can I create value? And that collaboration is the way that I was able to do it. Um, I don't have to be a Michael Kitzes who have all those letters after his name. He loves to learn. He loves to know about all those things. He loves to do it. You know, I love to listen to Simon Sinek, a bit of optimism, and share those tidbits with clients who are, you know, struggling with this or that. I mean, I have a different mindset. And so it's finding out what that is.
I love it. I love it. It makes, your story makes me think of the story of Henry Ford. And here's what I mean by that. I'm going to share this and then we'll get ready to wrap up. But the story of Henry Ford is this: Henry Ford is sitting in court being interrogated by a lawyer, and they're asking him all sorts of crazy questions like, how did you design the modification on your car's wheels? And he's sitting there with a team of lawyers, and question after question after question, his team of lawyers answers his questions. And he finally gets aggravated and says, listen, sitting at my desk is a phone where I can push any button, answer any question anybody brings to me. I have a team of folks. And it makes me think about that story, makes me think about you, because you just said, I didn't get into the CRM. I wasn't in the planning software. I wasn't playing around with Excel. But I think what you did exceptionally well is you surrounded yourself with a team of expert, and you knew what your true gift was, which was connecting with another human being, helping them feel that you can confidently help them, and helping them know that you would take care of them with the group of people that you've assembled to make sure that they were taken care of. And to me, that is the ultimate testament to collaboration. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody for listening in. It's been exceptional to have my amazing friend Colleen Bowler. Make sure that if you like this, share this on whatever channel that you're looking at with at least 2 to 3 friends. Add some comments. Make sure that you sign up to receive all the resources that Colleen and our team is going to be sending over. We're going to help you unlock your potential. We're going to help you build a team. We are here to help you. Both Colleen and I are accessible on LinkedIn. Feel free to find us there. Send us a message. Mention DAM, and we'll make sure that you're taken care of. So absolutely. I want to thank everybody so much, and I look forward to seeing you all again in July as we do the DAM thing once again. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, Eric.